I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey AfterBuzz TV fans, we are here to talk Hip Hop Evolution. We're in Season 4, Episode 2. I am your host, Angele Taylor, and I have a wonderful panel with me. We have entertainment expert, Mr. Kenneth Ware.
Yes, representing H-Town.
Yes, he is an H-Town native. Hey.
Yes.
And we have a beautiful Burbank native next to him, Miss
Hey.
Ebone.
Hey.
Okay, so I learned so much on this particular episode. I didn't know too much about Memphis, Atlanta culture. I didn't know even that much about Houston, and I'm from Dallas. So that just kind of lets you know how different those worlds are. Just because you're from Texas, Dallas doesn't know what's going on in Houston for the most part, and Houston doesn't really know what's going on in Dallas. The same way the Bay Area is a different culture from LA, right?
Exactly.
So what were your overall thoughts about episode 2?
It was good diving in and learning more about Houston, but also learning about Memphis and Atlanta. Just all those takeaways, hearing those artists that we grew up listening to, just how they started, the struggles and the things that they went through. So it was just good overall, just hearing their stories.
What about you, Ebony?
Yeah, no, I love to hear a good story, especially a good hip hop story, because you see like all these people with like all these cars and all this, jewels and all this stuff.
Like,
And you're
how did you get that?
Yeah, exactly. Like, how you get there? And then you hear like the struggles that they went through, and it's funny because it really feels like this could be like your best friend. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
they started from nothing and really built their way up. So it's like this really could be anyone. So it's interesting how that dynamic always works.
Absolutely. I was listening to screwed and chopped up music when I was coming up in high school, and it was a Houston thing, but we kind of adopted it in Dallas and we kind of made it our own. And so tell me what your thoughts were when you first heard screwed and chopped music, Ebony.
I feel like, I don't know if it's really like my style of music, but it always is just like interesting to hear a different sound.
Right.
And so I feel like that's it's just something to get used to. Like, but there are like some artists that I do really like.
Yeah, Chopped and Screwed has been kind of put into a lot of different mainstream
Right.
songs. But I know like the first time I heard Screw, I was in Houston, in Southeast Houston, in the back of a car with some friends, some
How
older
old were
high
you?
school. I was probably like middle school.
Okay.
With some high school students, Little Flip, whose first name is Wesley.
Oh my gosh.
He was playing some music, and I remember thinking, like, what is wrong with the CD player? Like, why is the music going so slow? But everybody was vibing, so I'm just in the backseat, like, I'm watching everybody else vibe, and they're just like, and I'm like, okay, well, this is a thing. So that was my first introduction to Screw, but it's jamming.
So
It's a
they
nice vibe.
open up this episode with the mastermind behind Screwed and Chopped Up Music, DJ Screw.
Yes.
And I never knew what DJ Screw looked like. I didn't even realize Screw Music was named after DJ Screw.
Yes.
And so it was definitely a history lesson for me. It was a cultural lesson, a music lesson. It was all of those things. I was just like, it was very eye-opening. And then to learn about how hard he worked and how he created this different genre of music that Texas can call their own.
Yes, and one of the rappers mentioned, like, we would be in there till 10 in the morning. And it was
Yeah.
like they were
Go
all
home
night.
at 10 in
Yes.
the morning.
Right.
And I think a big misconception is a lot of people think they record the music slow. But Lil Kiki
Right.
mentioned, like, no, that's recorded in real time. Then he just slowed it down. So that may have been something that you might have learned.
Right. No,
with
totally. Listen, I was learning a whole lot. Listen,
She was
okay?
like, they actually have to rap like,
Like
this.
this to get
Rap,
the
rap,
song
rap like
right.
this.
Exactly what I was thinking. I was like, what is going on?
So it is very interesting to know that DJs, that's been like the biggest thing for me. The takeaways from Hip Hop Evolution is DJs really started the music. It wasn't like writers, rappers. It was DJs that created cultures around music, and they spun into rapping and they got others involved. And it was just like, it's crazy how it all manifested in such a way.
Definitely. And with DJs, they get the party going. They know the vibe. They know how to work the room. So it's almost kind of like, it is what it is. Like, yeah, they definitely were the pioneers also in hip hop. So DJ Screw, like, he took a sound and people wasn't really messing with it. Then it just became a thing. And like you said, it made its way to Dallas. Then it's made its way to New York and just
everywhere.
It's global.
Yeah. It became a thing. And Screwed and Chopped Up music is one of those things where you hate it or you love it.
Yes.
It's not really an in-between, because the sound, like, you'll get annoyed by how slow it is, or you'll really love, like, the time it takes to get those words out.
Yes. And it also helps you, one thing with Screw music, it helps you learn the lyrics. Because it's so
I like to learn
that
the
is
lyrics.
so true.
Yes.
I like to learn the lyrics to a song. Like, I'm that person that's like, let me go on Google and look up these lyrics so I can sing it along, because it ain't no fun if you can't sing it along.
You know what? Me and my sister, we always would argue over what the song really says.
Yes.
Like, that was always a car battle. We would be in the backseat of the car, and my mom's like, both of you guys are right. Like, no, one of us is wrong.
Right.
And this was before Google search. So, I mean, there was Google search around, but it was a privilege to have internet back during those times. I'm not going to tell my age, but, black don't crack. But anyways, so it was really interesting learning about that. And so we learned about who DJ Screw was, how hard he worked, his team, and how he built, and how he worked endlessly, and he had to actually set up store hours, right?
Yes.
And how they would, like, trade mixtapes for lunch. And I mean, it was like an underground sensation to have, like, this great music and screw it and chop it up, and everyone wanted to listen to it, and the line was forming around the building. And that was just amazing to know how the culture was transforming in such a way where they were no longer interested in radio hits. They didn't know what was on the radio. It was all about the underground artists and the local artists in Houston.
And that's kind of a reoccurring theme on Hip Hop Evolution, just seeing how they brought that street mentality to the music industry. Because, I mean, they were selling that work, that good music, and people were lined up around the corner to get that work.
Yeah,
So.
I find it interesting.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Working.
Everything got me
working.
twerking.
Working it over there. I think it's interesting, too, like, even going back to, like, the DJs, how the evolution of hip-hop continues to evolve, right? Like, DJs were such a big thing, and, like, in the culture back in the day to, like, or even hip hop, like, your artist, like, you were so involved in, like, selling your music, your mixtape, getting it out there, like, really being your own distributor. And now we see, like, streaming as, like, a big thing. So maybe we're not listening to the radio anymore, like, they maybe weren't either, but now we're listening to streaming.
Streams, yeah.
And, kind of, again, those artists kind of taking control of their own careers and kind of shooting their shot how they can get it. So
real hustlers,
right? Real
salesmen.
But I kind of like the old school mentality. Like, I'm such, like, a traditionalist in a way where like I just like how they were their hustle was so real. Like, it's a different hustle now. I'm not, like, knocking the hustle it is in 2020, but, like, it was just, like, a different hustle back in the day.
It's a different hustle when you selling.
It was real in the field.
When you selling out your trunk of your car. Or
yes.
I mean, now you can sell it online on Instagram and things like that. But, yeah, it's a different
But there was a real connection to your fans.
Yes.
I mean, you have people that are coming to your house, coming to your record store to, like, pick up an album, pick up a mixtape, pick up, you're really connecting to your fans. And that's, like, one thing that I feel like we were missing in 2020. Everything's so, like, online. Like, you're not able to, like, really connect
we're missing
with
this
people.
connection right
yes,
here.
Let's
connection.
connect.
That make us united as one.
Yes.
We are family.
Hey.
Okay, sorry guys. I got a muscle. Okay, sorry. Back to hip hop.
Yes.
So let's jump into the topic of lean. But before we get into that, Kenneth has something to share with you viewers.
Yes, we want to thank you. Should I do this in chopped and screwed? We want to
don't.
thank you. We want to thank you for making us the ESPN of TV talk. You're watching us now, so go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Click that button. If you're listening to us on iTunes, give us 5 stars. We appreciate that. And let's keep that conversation going. You're talking back to us now, so hop up in the comments and let's get back to this hip hop evolution in H time.
Ow. So on the subject of lean,
Yes.
and we're not talking about lean with it, rock with it. We're talking about that lean, that scissor, as they call it in Houston, sipping known as scissor.
Yes.
Okay, so this was, which I learned what lean was because I don't get into those things. It's promethazine and cough syrup. And we have it pictured above where they had these cool colors and it seemed really appealing to the eye. It didn't taste that great, so they would put anything
Like
in
a Jolly
it.
Rancher.
Yeah, they
all
would
types
put
of mess.
anything in their lean, to just kind of get it down because it did what it needed to do. It's kind of like weed. It's a downer. So you kind of like get in a zone of,
that slow
carefree
down feel.
relaxation feel. And you just get, and I was trying to figure out how they were able to create, but they created while they were on lean. So, that's something to think about, how you can get those juices flowing when you're so relaxed.
So it was a thing of, because I know Bun B pointed it out, that all the time they wasn't on lean or smoking weed. I just know, like, with the slow down, because lean slows you down. A lot of people associated that with the chopped and screwed music. But if you saw those double cups, then you knew something was in those styrofoam double cups. You knew, like, okay, slipping slow. Okay, you knew what it was.
You know what's crazy though? I think that maybe people just didn't realize the effect of lean because it's like cough syrup. So you're like,
Yes.
okay,
So
like,
it's harmless.
it's
They
harmless,
sell it
it's
over the
fine.
counter.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think, I mean, even today, like, do we even still understand? There's still so many people that are like Lil Wayne doing the most on the lean. You know what I'm saying?
Shots fired.
It's like you haven't learned your lesson already. It's kind of like the lean ain't the way to go. And I feel like it is
No.
interesting how people create, like, even if you're smoking weed or drinking lean, right? That's your way of like being creative, like being in a creative space. That's like you need to be under the influence, and I think that's so interesting. But I mean, we do get a lot of amazing art that way too. So I'm not knocking it, but I'm just like, it's just interesting that you need to be under the influence to like create like that.
Yeah, and you can't be 100% yourself, like, without the influence, to be like in a very creative space. Yeah, that is an interesting concept. I didn't really think about that.
We will say no to lean. We will
Right.
say that.
Say no.
But they
PSA.
did mention that the syrup brings out the flavors of the chopped and screwed, or the chopped and screwed bring out the flavors of the syrup. So they kind of said that it complemented the music to be
Yes.
relaxed and then talking slow and screwed up and chopped up. I mean, it just kind of went hand in hand. So it was a
Yeah.
cultural thing.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So understanding that, and understanding that we had a timeless death with DJ Screw, allegations were that he was under the influence of lean and he overdosed. So R.I.P. to DJ Screw. I just learned about you when I watched this documentary. And yeah, it's really sad. It's like the minute you learn about somebody dope, they get taken away.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, so it's sad in that way.
He created a legacy, though. It was 10 years of him putting out this chopped and screwed music, and it really became mainstream. So although he's not here, his legacy lives on. So
Absolutely, he was a trendsetter, trailblazer,
yes.
and he left his mark. And his cousin is still holding his store down. So Screwed Up Music is still live and thriving, and definitely made in his legacy. His cousin was so touched by just like mentioning that he's carrying on his legacy. That made him like choke all the way up.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was moved by that, you guys. So we're going to drive out of Houston and right into Memphis. Ow, ow. So I was actually in Nashville last weekend. So I got a little taste of Tennessee. And I really enjoyed the Memphis culture. I mean, the Nashville culture, but I don't really know too much about the Memphis culture. I understand in the documentary they were saying that it was a lot of doom and gloom. And then the music that came out of there was very somber-like and kind of depressing because it's the robbery capital and it's the unemployment capital and it rains a lot. And It's like, break out the violins.
Right. Like, anything happy going on over here? Anything exciting?
They did say that it's the home of blues and rock and roll, and then they talk about Elvis and
There were just so many dance moves that came out of Memphis, or just dances, and especially with the music. But yeah, I wasn't aware of the horror rap, as they called it, horrorcore.
Oh,
And that was my first time even hearing that.
the Sinister
That
Rap
phrase.
from 3 6
Yes.
Mafia. Yeah, we're gonna get into that. Let's talk about it being MLK Day today. Happy Martin Luther King Day, guys.
Hello.
And how
Talking about
appropriate-
Memphis, right?
How appropriate
Yes.
because Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. So that kind of wraps up that whole reputation of why it's the doom and gloom city.
Yes.
They're trying to shine a little light on Memphis. Let's shine a little light. Let's just take Ebone's sweater and just shine it onto Memphis.
It's nice and bright and
Yes.
yellow.
You
Just got
had
it
a-
today, you know?
And you had a visit to Bill Street.
It's
I did.
beautiful.
I was there. You know, it's funny because as we talk about Memphis, I did visit, and I did go to Bill Street, and it's nice. It's very like lively. There's a lot of people walking around. They have like live music, which is like really
Nice.
cool on the street. You know, that's something that like we don't always get here in Los Angeles, unless it's someone like asking for money. So it's like it's nice to like see just like the culture. People were out having fun. It was lighthearted, but I kind of spent a lot of my time in Mississippi because that's where my cousin lives. So we
Okay.
were like driving into the city.
Okay.
You know, for like we were there for like 4 days or something.
How long ago was it?
It was last summer. I was there for like a family reunion.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
they got some roots.
Yeah, so Memphis, they bleed music, and everything is about music with this culture. It kind of puts you in the mind of Chicago, but like not Renaissance-ish
Yes.
like Chicago is. So they transition from soul to being known for hip-hop, and that's why we're going to go right into DJ Spanish Fly and his whole segment.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of DJ Spanish
I
Fly?
had never heard of DJ Spanish
Yeah, me either.
Fly before this episode, but it was jamming.
We are too young.
As
Oh my
soon as
God.
it came on, I was like, okay, DJ Spanish Fly.
We're so young. No, I was just kidding. No, but like he was the man
Yes.
back in the day. And so I keep hearing this reference to 808, and I'm like, what is 808? What is 808? And so just that beat, like that underlying beat that you hear when a DJ puts on a track, and then he just puts so many other layers on top of it. And I'm just like, okay. Yeah, I was really feeling everything I heard. They were big on the cassette market, and he was killing the game. And then the gangsta walk and the
Yes.
buck jump, you know,
Yes.
at the club, it was kind of like the Nuck If You Buck type reference. I was making those ward calls.
Yes.
They had their own ward call, the gangsta walk and the buck jump.
That buck jump was funny. I mean, everybody going around in a circle and just kind of like,
Kind of like they do like at the college parties where they stroll and they
Yes.
do
Right.
the sorority and fraternity. They go around in a circle. I was never Greek, so it always annoyed the crap out of me. It's like, you got to get out of their way. And I'm like, but why? I was always so rebellious.
I'm gonna stand right here. They could just run into me if they want
Right,
to.
because I'm already dancing. And then they talked about DJ Paul. We learned about Juicy J, 3 6 Mafia.
yes.
And how these Jerry Curl gangsters were
Yes.
just a major influence in Memphis. And you see like thugs with like all this like dripping Jerry Curl juice, but they can dance though, and they got hops. And you know, they knew how to lay down a track, and
Not dripping the Jerry curl
yeah, dripping
juice
the Jerry
on the
curl,
dance.
like
Dripping the Jerry
so
curl juice on the
glow.
dance floor.
So glow. Okay, so let's get into this Sinister Rap. What did you think when you first heard 3 6 Mafia track?
You could tell it's like deep. Like their voices, first of all, like just deep. I think they're just kind of like and raspy, and so you could tell that there is like emotion behind what they're saying.
Yeah.
And so, but you know, you can't really understand exactly what they're saying. So,
Right,
that,
no.
right, it's just,
I mean, that's with most of them.
right.
Unless it's screwed and shot.
Up to school. Nah, but 3-6 Mafia, they were that sinister, that hip hop. It was like tear the club up, all of that. It was just very like
It came with a spirit.
Yeah.
It came with a sinister spirit.
Yes.
And you were just amped up. You were wild and you were having a good time. You were partying with your friends. And it stems from that buck jump. Just everybody kind of the gangster walk and all that, you know, going around together. So it was a good vibe.
So, oh my gosh. When DJ Paul told me that his mom gave him the ultimatum, because mind you, he's in high school, he's making 2 bands a week, just doing his tapes, his DJing, and he's like, his mom was like, okay, so you want to use your auntie's address and go to the county school since your ass got kicked out of the regular school. You want to do that, or you want to try this DJ shit?
Yep.
And that's how she said it.
Yep.
And he's like, DJ shit for 200, Alex. So he was like, duh, I want to be a DJ.
Right.
So she was totally fine with him dropping out of school. He said that's the best decision he ever made. He said he turned like 20 grand into 46, like millions of dollars.
4,500 into 45 million. Yes.
How you do that?
Right. Teach me their ways. What is life right now?
Yes. I mean,
I need to know.
It just seemed beautiful how, I mean, you got this rags to riches stories among all of them, really.
Yes.
They're all rags
Really.
to riches.
Really.
Yes.
I mean, to where they have to steal for food, and then you come and you got all of this flashiness, this jewelry, and it's just amazing how they turned their whole life and their community around.
And that's amazing.
And then inspired other people.
Because that's when you that's how you know you have a passion for something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you know like you're like destined to do something. Because at the end of the day, for all of them, all the people that we're talking about, like it was this. There was no option B.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, this is what I want to do. This is what's happening. And then to bring in all these other people, right? Like, oh, like here's this person knows how to DJ. I need a DJ. Oh, this person I was looking for an artist.
Yes.
Got
So
a
word of
producer.
mouth.
And then it was like
It's
now you got a whole
plugged,
thing.
networking.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that came together because it's really hard to bring people together.
Yes.
So like the fact
Now.
that you're like right now, maybe it
Yeah.
was easier back in the day, but they were just able to hone in and focus on their craft. And people that were doing this all full time, it wasn't like, oh well, I have a job, I can't make studio time today. No, that was not happening.
Yeah.
You
No
know.
option.
So we're going to leave out of Memphis and drive straight down south to Atlanta, where we got Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. Hey, and the Yin Yang Twins. So what was your first take on get crunk, get lit type music, Ebone?
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Finally, we got some. We got some.
Some I know about.
Yeah.
Come on, Burbank.
Right. I love me some Lil Jon. Even my dad likes Lil Jon, which I'm surprised because he's so old school. Like he's into like jazz and
Oh, I
like
love
classical music, you know.
My kind of
So
guy.
yeah, so like my dad be liking some Lil Jon, little snappy fingers, little something. So okay. Right. I'm into it. I love this. I love this type of music.
What about you, Kenneth?
I mean, Houston and Atlanta, just being in the South is just like ATL is what it is. Like that crunk R&B, that crunk music, all that Lil Jon gave us.
He made the quickest rise to the top from no lyrics at all. Like he was the hit maker of just beats alone.
Yes.
He had the 808 beat, he had his ad-libs, and he's like, that's all I got for you. But it was more than enough because you literally could not get his songs out of your head. And it just kind of spiraled out of control. Like every artist that was anybody in the industry used him to be featured in their music, and it just exploded. The songs exploded in the club.
That was his energy.
It's
He has crazy energy. It's like like as soon as you hear the you like ready to go.
Yeah.
Right. You just ready to hit the club, ready to dance with your girls or with your boys and just
Absolutely.
hang out. Like it's always a good time with Lil Jon.
And hearing about his background with Jermaine Dupri and So Def.
Yeah, I
being
didn't know about
A&R,
that.
and just working with all those different artists and how he was able to kind of cultivate his own sound and bring that to the world. So that was great on the doc as well.
My favorite Lil Jon song is Get Low, because it's like when it opens up, dum-dum-dum-dum. And that just comes with a whole package right there. I'm just like, okay, put everything down. It's time to twerk down. And then, okay, so what is your favorite Lil Jon song?
Dang, girl. Okay. Well, I love me a good classic Usher and Lil Jon.
Oh, yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That one comes on, be knowing all the words, and then his little rap part at the end.
Yeah.
I'm just, And then the whole, like, you doing all the dance moves at the end. I was like,
all the dance moves
all the
that they recite at the end. What about you, Kenneth?
You can put Lil Jon on elevator music, and it would be lit. So I'm here for all the Lil Jon foolishness.
I love it. I love it. So we're going to roll right into our special segment, guys, and we are going to wonder, where are they now? So who are we talking about during this special segment?
We are talking about Lil Jon, Mr. Yeah. So can you think that you know where he has gone and drifted off to? It's not country
Here
music.
in L.A.
No. Not rock and roll. He is in EDM. He is doing it big in Las Vegas with the EDM market.
Oh, he has transcended us good colored people. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, that's so interesting.
He penetrated the market. I'm proud of him.
Go keep
though.
white boy money.
Yes. Go and escalate yourself. You and your whole career, boo.
Yes.
I am so proud of him.
When you think about EDM, it's crunk, it's moving, and why not have Lil Jon?
Yeah, his energy matches that 100%. I mean, honestly, I'm not even into EDM, but if I heard him on a song, I'd be into that song.
I would be into it.
I'd be into that, and because you have to mix like some of his beats with the EDM, that's hot. I
and
like
his
that.
yelling.
Right. Gotta have that.
Gotta have the yelling. Okay, so we are going to go right into our news and gossip. We got some news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
We do. So this is gonna be nice and simple, talking about Houston.
Okay.
Travis Scott is going to be headlining Coachella this year. He's gonna be one of the headliners. I know, and he's from Houston, so kind of, it kind of brings it back down to the South. He got a little flavor to him, the way he raps.
Yeah, he's bringing that Astroworld Festival, that whole H-Town culture to Coachella. So kind of, I guess you could say how Beyonce made it Beachella. Travis Scott is going to bring that H-Town culture that we saw at Hip Hop Evolution to H-Chella. H-Town Chella. Okay.
Astro-Chella.
All right. Travis, you owe us for that.
Astro-Chella.
Right. You better make it pop, okay? We hyping you up right now. You gotta make it. You better make it bomb.
Are you guys going to Coachella this year?
No, I'm not. I wish.
Yeah.
To be determined.
To be determined.
Yes.
Okay, well, if you guys go, I'm rolling in the backseat.
Right. I want to go, but listen, I need a hookup. I'm not paying no $500, $1,000 to go to no Coachella.
Always trying to find a hookup.
Girl, yes. Girl needs to save her coins. She's trying to travel this year. Ain't nobody got time for no $500 Coachella.
That is true. That is very true. We are going to end season 4, episode 2 of Hip Hop Evolution. I am your host. I am Angele Taylor. You can find me on Instagram and all other social media platforms under Angele Taylor _. Where can we find you?
I am Kenneth Ware, and you can find me on all streaming platforms at Kenneth Ware.
Okay, and then you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Ebone Chatman 12.
All right, guys, we're going to see you next time for episode 3.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.